And here we go on this Monday evening in the city. It is the first Monday in May. That would be May 4th, 2026, 6 o'clock straight up, which means it is time, ladies and gentlemen, for an all-new Real Talk Memphis. Glad you could make it in this evening. I'm glad I could make it in this evening. I am your humble host. My name is Chip Washington. And really looking forward to spending the next hour or so with you talking about there's so much news going on. It's hard to contain it, to be honest with you. But we'll try to do the best we can with my guest, of course, for the hour, which I will go over as well. I hope you all had a wonderful weekend. Weather-wise, not too bad at all. Today, right around 80. Now, tomorrow, we are looking at a chance of rain moving into the forecast, and that will extend into Wednesday as well. So, we have a little bit of precip to deal with, but we'll get past it as we always do. So, in terms of our show tonight, I will run down the guest list in just a minute or two. But first and foremost, there are many ways you can get this fine piece of radio broadcasting. The first way, of course, is WYXR 91.7 on your FM dial. We are on live right now, live and local, as they like to say. You can also find us on the WYXR app. We are live streaming the show tonight, so we will be on Facebook Live. And in another day or two, when the show posts, you can find us on YouTube. And yes, we are a podcast, so you can go check us out on Podbean and a few other of these podcast platforms out here in the country. I think that we are on as well. So again, I forgot to mention TuneIn. We are also on the TuneIn app this evening. Yeah, so a few ways to get the show, and of course, when it posts in another couple of days, it will be on podcast platforms as well as YouTube. So there you go. In terms of our guest this evening, it's a good guest list. Now, we were supposed to have State Senator Raumesh Akbari on tonight, but she is busy. As are quite a few of the legislators with the news we got about redistricting. So there are a lot of meetings and a lot of things going on. There will be a special session called by Governor Lee that will be tomorrow, starting tomorrow. So, yeah, there's a lot of news to pay attention to. And tomorrow, by the way, is also Election Day, ladies and gentlemen. So if you haven't done your duty, please get out and do so. Guest tonight, we're going to have Jesse Chisholm. He's a state representative, of course, and he's the head of the Black Caucus. And he will be joining me in just a few minutes to talk about all of this and how important it is for us to be engaged as a people. If we don't want to lose our democratic representation, we need to fire some things up and get fired up ourselves about all of this. So he'll be calling me in just a few minutes. A little bit later on, Michelle McKissack, Memphis and Shelby County School Board member, will be checking in. Hadn't talked to her in a while. Of course, we know about the takeover, and there was some news made this afternoon in the county commission in reference to this particular takeover case. We'll talk with her about that and a lot of other things. And in the second half hour, I have been troubled by what I see as the increase in violent activities for with our youth. A lot of young folks out here getting into mischief and violent acts, and we've lost some lives and everything else. And so I wanted to find out what the connection is. Is there a connection with our youth and the church? So I have invited Reverend William Thomas. He's the youth pastor from Fullview Missionary Baptist Church to join me a little bit later on to have a conversation about that and where our young people are. And are we as connected to them as they need to be to us, and more importantly, in the church house as well. So we'll have that conversation a little bit later on. But first and foremost, let's get to the birthdays. It is your turn to take that trip around the sun, and we like to celebrate that, and you, but I can't do that until I say, hit it, Brent. So, my voice is going out too. Happy birthday going out to the following folks. State Representative Joe Towns celebrating a birthday today. Happy birthday, Joe. April White Muldrew is celebrating her birthday today. Happy birthday to Tina Delights, to Daryl Martin, to Mark Goulage. Happy birthday, Mariology Andrus, and to Teddy Cross. Happy birthday to each and every one of you. I hope that this day has been filled with love and laughter. And happy birthday from all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, and we hope to be with you next year for your next trip around the sun. Thanks, Bryn. A couple of quick news and notes here. As mentioned, the special session has been called by Governor Lee, bringing the legislators back to Nashville to talk about a plan to redistrict the redraw lines, in the 9th district, to sort of split it into thirds and try to make it a Republican majority district. This comes from the White House, who's a bit concerned about the fact that they might lose some seats in the midterm, so they're trying to get as many states as possible to do some shifting around, so to speak, legislative lines to take Democratic counties and make them Republican. So Governor Lee and United States Senator Marsha Blackburn, who's really pushing this issue, she said she was going to get with Governor Lee and wanting these lines redrawn as quickly as possible. Of course, apparently there was a call from the president to Governor Lee to do that, and he called the special session when? Tomorrow. Now, what's happening down here? I wonder what is happening down here tomorrow that has a great importance and could change a lot of things here in our city and county. Oh, that's right. It's the municipal election. So of all the days that Governor Lee could have picked to hold a special session and bring everybody back to Nashville, he picked tomorrow, Tuesday, May 5th, to do that. Now, I'm not going to say any more about that other than just to let you figure out what that is all about. So here we go. Anyway, so that happens tomorrow, and this is a special session, and they are trying again to add a Republican seat to the one Democratic district down here in the state of Tennessee. That would be here in Memphis and Shelby County. They make no bones, they being the Republicans, about turning this district red. Let me see here. The Memphis and Shelby County schools are looking to file a lawsuit against the state for this takeover issue. Well, they got some good news from the county commission this afternoon. The county commission voted this time to approve the money that they asked for the first time. I think it's $200,000 to be able to fund this lawsuit. So that is a good news in face of the Memphis and Shelby County School Board try to fight this thing. So again, a lot happening. And finally, again, we mentioned it at the top. Election day is tomorrow. So if you haven't done it, please go out and vote. Take the time to go out and vote. Your vote couldn't be any more important than it is right now. I'm going to forsake a break, and Brent, if you can call him up. My first guest is with me this evening. He's very busy as well as a lot of the folks are in the legislature because they're having meetings right now. There's a couple of community meetings going on. There's a planning session that the NAACP is having right now at First Baptist Broad. Started at 6 o'clock this evening to try to figure out next steps in this process. That's one thing that's happening. There's another community meeting on the other side of town. But I'm very, very fortunate and happy to have with me State Representative Jesse Chisholm. He's also head of the Black Caucus. And Jesse, first of all, can you hear me okay? Okay, we can't hear you yet. May need to adjust something or turn something. Or I'm sure you can hear me, but we can't hear you yet. Hey, go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I got you now, my friend. Thank you so much.
No, thank you.
Listen, man, I know it's a very, very busy time for all of you. You got called back to a special session of all days tomorrow, which is election day down here in Memphis and Shelby County. Don't tell me folks weren't thinking about that before they did this. But on its face, Jesse, this is a big blow to a lot of us here. And I want you, as one of the leaders in the House, to express what is at stake in all of this, and what are the Republicans trying to achieve with this special session?
Yeah, so what's at stake right now is the voice of Memphis is at stake right now. To your point earlier, they tried to bring us. Well, they didn't try. They're bringing us in on election day, on a day when many of us need to be in our communities, engaging with voters and helping people navigate through the voting process. But instead, we're going back to Nashville to fight for our political soul, if you will. A lot of blood was shed, and so much work went into making sure that people in Memphis have a strong voice at the polls. But now you have our Republican colleagues trying to send us back to session so they can weaken that voice, and it's immoral. It's shameful.
Yeah, this is becoming sort of the battle cry now. Of course, the case in Louisiana, many of us know the Supreme Court voted, part of that down, which was really a big blow to the representation level of us as a people there. And that sort of opened the door now to the Republican Party in various states saying, hey, we need to look at this, and we need to redistrict these lines now. We need to set this thing straight so, we can try to assure our reelection in the midterms later on this year. And Marsha Blackburn jumped on this immediately to say, I'm going to go to Governor Lee, and we're going to, I need to get him to start a special session, and we need to redraw these lines and gerrymander and everything else that is going on. And we need to do it as quickly as possible. And it happened as quickly as possible. Literally, you found out on the day that we paid respect and honor and love to one of our fallen G.A. Hardaway, who I'm thinking about a lot on this day, Jesse, because you know as well as I do, he'd be leading the charge in all of this right now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The timing of this is kind of crazy, if you will. G.A. Hardaway was one of our leading experts on redistricting, and they waited till he closed his eyes to say, "Hey, we're gonna try to run this as fast as possible and as unfairly as possible." So, I think it was just tasteless to do this, to call special session on that same day that we put our friend to rest.
Yeah, so, basically you laid out kind of where things are in terms of all of this. What I want to know is there are meetings right now that are There are meetings right now that are happening that are planning meetings, I guess, and strategy meetings and things that are going on. But Jesse, from your perspective in all of this now, and I know you're ready to fight, and a lot of your colleagues are as well. But what can be done now, and what is our responsibility as citizens here in Memphis and Shelby County with all of this going on?
Well, I'll tell you one thing. It puts a lot more emphasis on tomorrow's election. I think it's so important for our citizens to get out there and vote tomorrow, because there's a lot of groups that's coming to Nashville to make their voices heard at the Capitol. But we also need to take care of our business at home, because if not, you will have some to try to use that as an example of low voter turnout to justify some of the things that they're trying to do. So I'm telling anyone under the sound of my voice tomorrow on election day, make sure you go out there and vote. If you're coming to Nashville, make sure you vote first.
Yeah, exactly. I know that there's maybe plans for some folks to take a ride up to Nashville in person to see where things are. And you make a very, very good point. If you hadn't voted already, please do so before you get on a bus or drive or whatever you do tomorrow in terms of your plans. Now, we heard that there was about 58,000 people who early voted. And from what I was told by the election folks, it's a pretty good sign in terms of the numbers. I think they compared it to 2018, which was another big election. So, I mean, pretty good advanced turnout. But there is always a major concern on election day around here, because with the number of people, thousands and thousands of people who are registered to vote, when we have these elections, they just don't come out. And I don't know. I've never understood why. It has always been a bit embarrassing in terms of election day. And I said all day today, I said, well, it's going to rain tomorrow or at some point, I think. So we hope that doesn't keep folks home. But really, in terms of and we heard later this afternoon, and I don't know if you heard it or not, but the Congress in Washington, D.C. Came out and said that they supported Steve Cohen, in terms of this particular situation. But again, I can't help but emphasize the fact that people, I don't know if people really understand, folks been talking about it for the last 2 days, really understand just how serious a situation this is, and just how this takes us back in the history books. We were fighting for the right to vote and didn't get it, and we finally got it. And now that we have the right to vote, literally, and please tell me if I'm overstating this. Isn't this an affront to us as a people in terms of our voting power and the right we have earned all of this time? What's your thought about all that?
Absolutely, this is an all-out attack. 60 years ago, the Civil Rights Act, the Section 2 of the 14th Amendment was put in place so that people like the citizens of Memphis could have fair elections, so they could go in and vote and not be under the spell of Jim Crow. And it's like they're trying to take us back in time to a dark place that this country should have never been in, and we never want to go back to. So it is so important that our people still go out and vote. Matter of fact, both of our congressional candidates, I think this is one of those times when both members need to work together on this, so that we can make sure that the voting rights of Memphis stays safe.
That's a very good point. I heard somebody make that point just yesterday. You know what? This is really right. I mean, we need to put this. I know they're two individuals who are going against each other in this election. But right now, this is all hands on deck. We need to put that on pause right now. We need to really figure out and understand the disenfranchisement of people. You use that term, disenfranchisement of a race of people. And this could be, and I don't know if you guys have been thinking about it or talking about it, but this could be a reason for people not to go vote. Well, you know what? They're gonna redraw us out of our district anyway, and so we're not gonna have a voice anyway. Why should we go to the polls? That has been, I've heard a lot of that the last several days here. But when I saw all of you talking the other day at the press conference, it became very clear to me, and for everyone talking about this, that you know what, the time for, if we have any differences, we need to put all that stuff aside right now. But say they end up doing this, Jesse, you guys are outmanned. The Democrats are outmanned, in the state house. This is a majority Republican, a state in terms of all of this. But has there been any kind of conversation, even though you haven't been in session yet, of thinking about any recourse that you all might be able to take as a legislative body on your own? Because on your own, you're pretty powerful as well.
They're definitely we're definitely looking to put some questions on record to see the legality of things, and just try to put ourselves in a posture so we can make sure that there is some recourse even during this and even after this. I'll tell you one thing. You talked about a point earlier where you talked about how important it is to go out now. Well, I'll tell you one thing. For those people that believe that this is not important and they're going to take our voice anyway, If it wasn't important, they wouldn't work so hard to cheat to try to take it from
Mm, mm. Well, that's a big statement. Before I let you go, I want to talk a little bit just for a moment about another situation that occurred here between two particular individuals, Representative Mark White, one of your colleagues, and State Senator Brent Taylor, in pushing the agenda and the vote of this takeover. Now, I don't really care what they call it. This is what it is. It's the takeover of our Memphis and Shelby County School District, the largest school district in the state of Tennessee, where you want to bring in 9 people, appointed individuals by the governor and the head of the Senate and head of the House to become a management board and oversee the elected officials. And this is the part that bothers me the most. These were elected people by the citizens of Shelby County. They put these people into office. They elected them and they put them into office. Now to be able to come back as a legislative body and say, well, you know what, we gave you a chance and you didn't, and you messed it up, and now we have to come in and be the saviors and fix this situation. To me, and I have used this term, and I don't know whether it's an accurate term or not, but I've used the term disenfranchisement. If you go to the polls and you vote for somebody and you're expecting them to be your representative, and then somebody comes along as appointed and takes your place and does all the business that you were doing, isn't this some kind of disenfranchisement of someone's vote? Isn't this basically saying your vote really didn't matter in the first place?
See the pattern here?
Yes, I do, sir.
Yeah. There's certainly a pattern. Mm-hmm. And it's a complete overreach. And and on that subject matter, it makes me think that it has nothing to do with our teachers, nothing to do with our children, but everything to do with the resources that are managed by our school system. That they want to bring in their own people to do all the contracting, do all. I'm learning to follow the money, and what I'm seeing here is people trying to commandeer resources that are being managed by Memphis.
Yeah, it sets a very dangerous precedent because, first of all, we don't know who's being selected. We clearly don't have a voice in it as to who's being selected or what happens from there. And I'm going to be speaking to a school board member in just a couple of minutes after I talk to you. But once again, this is you use the term overreach. I mean, this is very much so an overreach. And so I guess if you could do this to the Memphis and Shelby County School District, and I have asked this question each and every day since this takeover, what about the kids? I mean, what does this do to our children? Is anybody thinking about the young people, the people who are in school right now, our next future leaders? How is this going to affect our young folks? Jess?
There's been a push to take away resources from our public schools, and by Memphis being the largest public school district in the state of Tennessee, they're looking to use the resources that we've used for public schools to fund private enterprise. I'm saying private enterprise, but they're saying private education. But but it's still private enterprise because education is one of the top line items that we have at the state. So it just looks as though they're trying to take resources from Memphis and use that wherever they want it.
Well, we're setting up for a very interesting time. I know you all will fight as hard as you can, and you're asking citizens here to fight. If you ever want to be involved in something, this is absolutely the time to be able to do that. State Representative Jesse Chisholm, thank you, man. I really appreciate you. I know how busy you are, and I know how you guys are pushing. We're going to be praying for you. We're going to be watching. We're going to be paying close attention down here. I think you have a whole city and a whole county behind you in terms of your effort. We know you're going to do the best you can. We're going to keep a close eye on it. Thank you, my friend, for coming. I really appreciate you tonight. Thank you.
We definitely have our sleeves rolled up and ready to go to war.
Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Thank you for coming on the show. I really appreciate you. State Representative Jesse Chisholm, ladies and gentlemen, giving us the rundown. This is some serious business here, okay? Now, what happens in the future on many levels is at stake here, whether you think so or not. And once again, we continue to hammer, and really push the fact that people need to be involved in the process. And when you see things like this happening, the progress being halted, being pushed, as I think we're being pushed backwards again, basically by saying, well, you really don't have a voice. There's nothing you all can really do. Well, you know what? We've heard those lines before, going all the way back through the course of history, and we can't give up just because the odds are against us. I really thank him for coming on the show and kind of breaking it down for us. I'm going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to have another guest that's going to break down what is going on. We talked about the takeover. I'm going to talk to a school board member who is directly involved in all of this. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. You know who you are. Don't go anywhere. Stay locked in. Stay focused. We have a lot more show coming up. We'll be right back.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest? Or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Mac Man from your Mac Man Music Show. Tune in every Wednesday at 5 to 6 for the best in all kinds of soul, rhythm and blues, jazz, a little hip hop, and all kinds of music on WYXR 91.7 FM.
Woman's intuition, woman's prerogative. Sometimes only a woman's point of view will do. Listen to Valley of the Dolls, Sunday, 1 to 2 p.m. on WYXR 91.7 FM. A chance to hear a woman's thoughts and feelings.
This is Brandy Putting on Airs, and I want to help you through your Sunday morning come down. There's no better time to listen to a little honky tonk than Sunday morning when you're trying to remember your Saturday night. So grab your Bloody Mary and your coffee and tune into WYXR at 9 a.m. Sundays, and let's get your day started right.
Hey, this is Jerry, and you're listening to WYXR 91.7 FM Memphis. My show, Without a Net Radio, coming to you from 8 to 10 p.m. every Sunday night. I'll be playing some good music. Tune in and listen.
Support for WYXR comes from Shangri-La Records, Memphis' longest-running record store. Located at 1916 Madison Avenue and open daily from 11 a.m. to 6 p.m., Shangri-La is your source for vinyl, CDs, audio equipment, and more. More information, upcoming events schedule, and online shop can be found at shangrilarecords.com.
Support for WYXR comes from Huey's, our concert calendar sponsor. Serving burgers and more since 1970, Huey's also features live music every Sunday at various locations. You can find out who's playing each week on their website, hueyburger.com, or WYXR's concert calendar at concert.wyxr.org.
Yo, this is Devin Germain from The Audio Box. Tune in every Friday from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m., where I play a lot of recent releases, as well as retro music on occasions, only on WYXR 91.7 FM.
What's up, Memphis? It's your girl Shelby, aka DJ Rhinestone. If you're hungry for fresh funk, tune into Bread and Butter Radio from 7 p.m. to 8 p.m. on WYXR 91.7 FM.
Support for WYXR and the 2026 stereo sessions comes from Independent Bank, a Memphis-based community bank serving local businesses and the people who call the city home. Learn more about iBank and hear client stories at i-bankonline.com.
What does being a great mentor look like? Someone who shows up, listens, and is consistent. You don't have to be perfect to be the perfect mentor to a young person. To learn how you can make a difference and join the mentoring movement, visit grizzliesfoundation.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. A busy one it is for a lot of us, getting ready for a lot of things. And my next guest is she's a regular. She's been on our show several times. And of course, I wanted her very, very busy as always, but I wanted to take a few minutes with her this evening to talk about some of the latest issues and things that are happening in reference to her side of the street. She is a Memphis and Shelby County School Board member. She is Michelle McKissack, and she joins me now. Hi, my friend. How are you?
Hi there, Chip. I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing well as well. Trying to hang on and hold on to things out here that are happening. So, obviously it's a very, very busy time. Selection time here. We had about almost 58,000 people early vote, which is a pretty good sign of things. Tomorrow is Election Day,
Yes.
and we obviously have been pushing and urging folks not to use the excuses that we used in the past. Every time Election Days show up around here, folks tend to forget it's Election Day and decide not to go. But I want you to talk about the importance of the consequences of this election. This is a very big election, from the county mayor seat right on down to school board members and a lot of other folks in between. This is a really big deal, is it not?
This is a huge deal. I'm so glad you asked about it. I feel like I just want to vent that it is so important, the importance of voting, period, no matter who you vote for. I mean, just the act of it. And as an African American, and in light of what the Supreme Court decided last week with the Voting Rights Act, I think about all the people who lost their lives for the right, for us to have the right to vote. And so it's just like, that's all in jeopardy. And, I've been seeing some reports about people talking about, like, when they go to the polls and how it's a so-called zoo. I even heard one woman refer to the poll workers as vultures. And that really broke my heart. And someone saying, like, it was overwhelming. I said, you know what was overwhelming? What's overwhelming is when people were being hosed down with fire hoses and dogs sicked on them and being beat with batons. That was what, at minimum, was overwhelming. Showing up and just having people who are doing their job. Yes, some of them are assertive, aggressive about it, but it lasts all of moments. And so don't use it as an excuse. Don't use bad weather as an excuse. Really think about the people who even gave the right. And so, that's a big thing with me. I've been taking my kids to the polls since they were little, and now they're young adults, and they know, vote. It's important. And now with our big Shelby County election, the mayoral race, the sheriff's race, and of course in the school board race. I mean, right now, school board, as you well know, is a big hot topic right now.
Yeah, it really is. It's top of mind for everybody. The folks up in Nashville accomplished what they set out to accomplish in terms of this. And whatever anybody else labels it, to me, it's a takeover. And when you appoint nine members, when you appoint 9 members to oversee an elected body, and I'm having a hard time with that myself. And basically saying that the people who even voted for the school board members in the first place, their votes didn't even matter. It's almost like you disenfranchised these people voting. Now, you and I have not talked about this. Clearly, it is top of mind, and people are starting to get a grip on all of this. I just kind of want to get your take on this and what people should really be paying attention to in respect to this situation.
Well, Chip, Right. This is about, people are kind of conflating two issues here. Yes, we want to see education improve within MSCS, and that's a component of it. And I believe that having an advisory council of sorts just to bring a brain trust, this is what we did when we were talking about facilities for MSCS and how to go about right sizing our district. We have too many large schools that are not at the capacity they need to. So we looked into the community to help us decide who and which schools were going to be in the first round to be closed. And so that I'm all about having a brain trust of people to advise. But when you start talking about taking away the vote and voice of the people and having a whole nother board that wasn't selected by the people to come in and be the overseers, that's a big problem. That's an attack on democracy. That's why voting is so important. What do either even right now or 2 years from now, the next election cycle, to say I'm going to vote for someone different who's more aligned with what I believe in my values. But you don't go in and start taking away voices by appointing a very extraordinarily handpicked board, no matter how qualified they may be.
Well, you all, I know you got a little help today. A couple of weeks ago, I guess there was a vote we talked about a lawsuit. You all filing a lawsuit against the state in reference to all of this. There was an initial vote that failed by one. Well, they brought it right back today, and it passed this afternoon. So there will be funding for you all to be able to seek legal counsel to fight this. And I would imagine that for you all is a bit of a victory because I said before, and I'll say it to you now. This is the same county commission that during the situation with Dr. Fagan's removal said that we have a vote of no confidence in the school board. This is also the same county commission that wanted to change the election cycle of the school board to this year, thereby eliminating the four who were voted in 2024. This is the same county commission. Interesting to me how minds have been changed. I kind of wanted to get your perspective on that.
Well, I think it's like we're on a major, dangerous, slippery slope. And I mentioned this the other day. It's like, well, first today is the school board. Then tomorrow it could be the county commission and then maybe the city council. And I believe that's evidenced by what's happening at the federal level and all these special sessions that are taking place here in Tennessee and other predominantly southern states, where they're now coming in talking about redistricting so that they can get the type of electorate that they want and representation that's not reflective of Memphis. Certainly here in Tennessee. So, I think some people are waking up saying, this is not good for our democracy and certainly not to have the proper representation for the people to decide. Because, Chip, as you well know, I wasn't aligned with my school board colleagues back a year and a half ago with the Fagan situation. I was not a part of that chorus saying she should go. I thought she should be retained. Right. And so here we are at this point. That's a different situation that we're dealing with now. Whereas I was not aligned with them, I do not believe that the people should have their voice and their vote taken away from them. That is really, really just, like I said, it's eroding a democracy.
And we're speaking of that, and I just want people to really understand how critically serious this is. Because first, like you said, it was the school board. I mean, they make a decision, and whether there are issues or not. I mean, you say that there are things that we could do either better, and that we're looking at, and we're trying to adjust and fix some things, and that really is all a part of the process. But to be in, but to just autonomously just say, well, you know what, based on 25% of an audit, we determine that you all are on the wrong track. You're not going to ever get on the right track. Our kids are just doomed to the future, and we need to ride in and take over. To me, is just preposterous. And does anybody remember the Achievement School District? Hello.
Oh, yeah.
I can do it. I host
Absolutely.
this thing.
Thank you. Thank you for saying it out loud, okay? Let's just say the quiet part out loud.
Yeah.
And the Achievement School District was not successful. That was a school district that was run by the state for 10 years. And what's interesting now, though, with MSCS, there has been steady growth over the last several years of improvement. That is indisputable. You check the facts and the stats, it's all right there. So there is growth, there's moving forward. What's also interesting is that this school district has been overwhelmingly underfunded per student of what the state should be giving. And I think it's like around $13,000 per student, and it really should be at $17,000 per student. Because when you're operating with students who have such high need, it takes more. You have the average middle class family. I say, I use my own family as an example. I've got 4 kids. My 3 sons all graduated from Memphis Shelby County schools. My daughter's currently a freshman in our school district. And they had all the support. All they had to go to school and learn and be taught by excellent teachers. They literally all went to the same elementary school where it was kids coming from all over Memphis, and literally the same teachers who would have the honors optional school kids in the morning and then traditional students in the afternoon, and then they would switch. Literally the same teachers and the different outcomes. Why? Because of a different support system the students were receiving coming into school already being knowledgeable. There is so much. So you cannot point to one specific thing in which this is where things all went wrong and is solely on this board. Does not even rest solely with the school district. This is a societal issue. This is the divestment of the city of Memphis in our education system. This is the underfunding by both the county and the state. There are so many people where we can say, let's perhaps it could have started when, the former board seated the charter of Memphis City Schools.
Yeah.
Some could say that that's where the beginning of the end started. So all that to say is that here we are right now, and I know the answer is not taking over the school district. If the same level of passion was put into supporting the school district and the $6-7 million that's been spent on this audit had been poured back into the school district, what kind of impact would that have had?
One final note before I let you go. We got money to put into charter schools, which basically takes money away from the public schools, but we don't have enough money to fund the food program, the lunch program that is coming up for the summer enrichment program or summer school, right? But we can't, they're not going to feed these kids who need nourishment. We don't have money for that, but we have money for everything else. Everything is just kind of turned on its head. And I think that people really need to get angry about what is happening and almost demand that there's some level of accountability other than what we're seeing now. Am I wrong about that?
Exactly. No, you're spot on. You're spot on. And here's also another myth. They want to make it seem like it's all that is wrong and bad that's happening here. Here's a little fact that they don't really like to focus on that they came out in their last committee report before they made this decision to vote to take over this school district. 80% of the school districts across the entire state of Tennessee, including East Tennessee, Middle Tennessee, 80%, 80, are not reading on grade level. Get that number, 80%. And so you want to put the spotlight on Memphis when literally the entire state, 80%, is not doing at the levels that the state has mandated because they're underfunding all the school districts. There's not enough funding that's being poured in to pay our teachers. And we are the highest paid school district for teachers in this entire region, in the state, most likely. And people don't realize that. MSCS pays its teachers more than any other municipal school district in this area.
Well, my friend, listen, there's a lot at stake here, and there's a lot to look at, and there's a lot to pay attention to. As always, I truly appreciate you. I appreciate your work. I appreciate your time and your energy and your effort and taking some time to talk to our listeners tonight. I really, really appreciate it. Best of luck. We'll be watching, and we'll be pulling for you. We'll be rooting for you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Got to get back on the campaign trails while I'm in the car.
Have a good night, my friend. Take care.
Good night.
Good night. Bye-bye. There you go. Michelle McKissack, ladies and gentlemen, one of the school board members, had a very there's a candid conversation about what is happening here. I don't know where we're going. I honestly, sometimes I scratch my head and I do a lot of praying. Let's take a break. And when we come back, a quick one. When we come back, we will shift gears and talk about our young people, continue that conversation. I have some questions for a youth pastor. Are our kids more focused on the streets rather than they should be focused on God? I'll have a guest that will address that. This is Real Talk Memphis. I'm Chip. Don't go away. We're not done.
If you like Real Talk, here's a way you can get involved. Do you have a show topic idea or suggestion? Want to be considered a guest or have a guest idea? Then send Chip a message on his Real Talk show page and you can be a part of the Real Talk experience. So as he always says, go out and tell somebody. We'll be right back.
Whether it's a clunker or a classic, your car can keep Memphis grooving. Free pickup, tax deductible, and all for WYXR. Donate your vehicle at cars.wyxr.org.
Get Real Talk on the TuneIn mobile app under WYXR, and he's now streaming live on Facebook. And you can also catch a rebroadcast on YouTube. Just put WYXR in the search box and hit subscribe. Now back to more Real Talk with Chip Washington.
And welcome back to Real Talk Memphis on this Monday evening. Chip with you, and I have I have an affinity for young folks, and I've been watching what has been happening in our city, in our communities here lately, and we're seeing a lot of violence that is being attached to our young people, not only as victims, but as perpetrators, as people who are committing these crimes. And it brings me back to something that a generation ago we didn't see a whole lot of in terms of this, because young people didn't have a choice to go to church. They it was get up, get dressed, and let's go. And it seems to be a lot more permissive these days. But I wanted to understand a little bit about the connection between our young people in the streets and our young people in church. I've invited a very special guest. He is Reverend William Thomas. We call him Pastor Bill. He's a youth minister over at the Fullview Missionary Baptist Church. And Pastor Bill, it's great to see you, man. Thank you for coming on the show tonight. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you having me on. Thank you for bringing me on and talk about this topic.
Yeah, it's a big deal, and I know that Fullview has taken great steps in really bringing our young people in the fold. And making them, or at least encouraging them to understand, that church is not just the four walls and we're not going to hear. We got to hear this. We got to hear that. We seem to be disconnected, I think, as a society of people in terms of our young people and in terms of the importance of church. From your perspective and what you see and what you talk to about the young people that go to Fullview, am I right about that, or are we missing something?
Well, I think you're absolutely right about that, especially what you said in the intro of the time is different. It's no longer the time where young people didn't have a choice whether or not they were going to church. It's a lot more permissive now, but with that, our young people still do have a heart and a zeal for God. One of the things that we have come to understand and appreciate at Fullview is that we need to be prepared as a church to minister to this generation in their language that they understand and with on this day and age. It needs to be a timely ministry and something that they can relate to, as well as something that they can learn and grow from as well.
Yeah, that's a very, very big deal, and I know that there's work involved in this, and I know you and I were talking offline before all of this, and I ask you, directly, are we, as a church, as a not just at the independent church, but as a church, period, are we doing enough community wise to bring our young people, back into the fold, and as you said earlier, that zeal for God. I mean, the streets present a great challenge. There's an attraction out there, when kids see folks with the gold chains dripping off of them and then money in the pocket and this and guns and the whole 9 yards. There's a different mindset that goes into that. And how does one who does what you do in such a marvelous way convince these young people that there is a better way than what the streets present, and God is that way?
Absolutely. And to answer your question, we were talking offline about it. As a church, as a global organization, no, we don't do enough to minister to our young people. I believe, honestly, and I'm one who's grown up and raised in the church my entire life, from knee-high baby all the way to where I am now. And I believe that the church is actually behind the times in communicating with our young people the importance of values and the importance of things that are important and worthwhile, so that they can kind of foster and develop their mindset. For far too long, us as a church, we've been afraid to talk about some of the, I call, hairier topics or subjects, or things that we don't want to talk about drugs, about violence. But we can't be naive as a church not to think that our young people aren't being exposed to these things out in the street. So what do we do as a church? I'd rather us as a church develop that mindset to talk to our youth about these type of things so they can develop a God mindset and a Christ-centered focus around these topics that would then develop and help them navigate through these processes as they go out in their day-to-day life. Our young people experience a lot of things, even more than what I experienced when I was a child in their age, especially teenagers. But we need to have the mindset of getting out and be able to tackle these things from a God concept to draw and attract them from an authentic purpose. One of the things, Chip, that I've learned, especially in dealing with our youth, is that they draw to authenticity. No more can we just kind of dress up the mindset of church or this is the Bible, we need to learn it, but why do we need to learn it? And then also, how do we apply it to our life now? What does it mean in the book of James where it talks about temptation leads to sin, leads to death? How does that look in our modern day? And what is some tangible aspects that we can identify as youth and young adults and teenagers that can help us live a godly Christian life, and that God will be pleased with?
Do you think that because you said that the church really isn't doing enough to have these honest, open, honest conversations and talking to these young people where they are? I mean, are we afraid as a society? I mean, a lot of households you see as these kids start to grow up, you see the dynamic of the household changing from parents being parents to young people sort of commanding whatever space they're in inside someone's house. So, I mean, we're not being taught, these young people are not being taught, fundamentally, as you said earlier, from the ground up. Is that what you see in terms of them? And are parents just feeling like, well, I don't know, I mean, I tried, I can't reach him. I don't know how to do all of that. And you just sort of just give up and just sort of watch them go whatever way they go?
Well, no, and I don't want to put a negative light on our parents, because we have some great parents out there who are definitely doing the most that they can for their children.
Sure.
But I believe that we as a village need to come back together to give the parents the tools that they need in order to raise a child in this generation. For back in my grandmother's generation and before that, the church was a central place to get tools that then you can bring back to your own household to help rear your children and rear your family in a Christ-centered manner. As a church, we need to get back to supplying those tools and not being afraid to go in areas that may seem uncomfortable to talk about inside of church. Sometimes the best ministry is to talk and touch a person at their needs and what they're dealing and struggling with, no matter how uncomfortable the topic may be. I come from growing up in the 90s, and I just remember my youth department and my youth ministry. There are some areas that we knew were hot topics that were being dealt with by us as youth and by teens that were taboo when we walked into the church. So it was never talked about, and we had to rely on the world to figure out what's our mindset and concepts behind that. As a church, we need to attack those ideas and help our youth understand what God says about you, about who you are in God's eyes, and what's your identity that God created you to be. And then also develop and help them develop a moral framework that they can make decisions on their own when they're coming to some of the situations that they encounter and face.
Before I let you go, just have about a minute left here. What is your message? You're as a youth pastor, I watch you and your wife, and you all do a wonderful job with our young people. You truly do. But what is your overriding message for our young people?
The overriding message that I always have for our young people is that the future that God has for you will blow your mind as long as you stay within his will and stay close to him. And how do you stay close to him? You stay close to him by developing a relationship with him, reading your word, reading your Bible, also developing a prayer life and communicating and talking with God. And you can be your authentic self because God loves you for you. God created you for a purpose. God created you to be a blessing to others, and God created you to have success in this world. And that is my overarching focus to every youth that I come in contact with. My job as a youth pastor is to help you be the best creature that God created you to be.
Wow, that's a great way to wrap this up. Reverend William Thomas, ladies and gentlemen, he is the youth pastor at Fullview Missionary Baptist Church. My friend, it is great to see you. Thank you for coming on the show, and thank you for all the work that you do each and every day to make these young folks the best that they can be. I appreciate you. Thank you.
Absolutely appreciate you, Chip, and thank you for shining a light on these topics. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. That's how you wrap up a show. There's always a positive message out there, and we have to focus in on it. Now, don't go anywhere in terms of this channel, because in a couple of minutes, there's another fresh, all-new edition of Event Horizon. Did you know? Hosted by Bryn Butler, who's sitting to my right, by the way, on the board here. And Bryn, I know you're going to have a really good show. Now our friend that came on right before me, yes. I gave you a nice little shout out. He said, "Man, Bryn is hitting on this music here." So you got to feel good about that, don't you?
Totally. It feels really good. Shout out to DJ Larry. On from 5 to 6.
DJ Larry doing his thing, boy, I tell you.
Oh, yeah.
We're running the Monday night thing. You know that, right?
We are. It's high energy until like 11 p.m., 12.
I'm long sleep by that time. I'm just letting you know. So we know you're gonna have another high energy show. Anything on your mind tonight? Are you just gonna free flow it or what?
Yeah, it's a little free flow. New releases, old releases, Memphis and Universal, all over the place tonight.
All over the place tonight. All right. Well, listen up, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, Bryn comes up in about a minute as he plays us out. This has been a good show. We talked about a lot of important issues. There's a lot at stake. And when I said, I didn't make a mistake when I said that there's a lot at stake that people need to be paying attention to that could cause some very dynamic changes. I'm a fighter. I always have been. And so my message is don't give up. Fight. Even when it gets frustrating, even when it gets difficult, fight. We wouldn't be where we are if folks didn't fight for us. So I thank all my guests tonight, bringing different perspectives to different situations and circumstances. Bryn is coming up with his show in just a minute after this theme ends. So for all of us here at Real Talk Memphis, for Lulu and for Bryn and for me, thank you, WYXR listeners, for your support and your encouragement. Keep it up. Have a great week. Be safe out there, and watch out for yourself and watch out for other folks. Until next time, we are out.